just therapy to everyone and everything.
Therapy, yes. That's my worst nightmare.
I think I would start a riot.
Yeah, I would be pissed.
I would pop off.
Yeah.
Cheers to good times, good vibes,
And living every hour like it's Gaby hour. Welcome to Gaby hour.
It's the best time of the day. I'm Gaby with a Y.
And I'm Gaby with an I. Welcome back to our podcast. Our usual drinks.
Cheers. Our
Cheers.
Trader Joe's peach wine.
So good.
In the can.
Cheers, everybody.
All right, so today's episode, actually, we're going to do something a little bit different, just to kind of give you a taste of the different things that we're going to be doing and the different setups we'll have. Sometimes it'll just be topics or things that happen to us during the week, whatever else. But today we're actually doing reaction videos. I've kind of become obsessed with them over COVID. I love them. There's a lot of podcasts that do them. I know Two Hot Takes kind of focused on Reddit stories in the beginning, and then it kind of became its whole thing. I know Wild Till 9 has done like a reaction video.
Yes.
And eventually maybe we can do listener write-ins.
Oh, yeah.
And try to give like third-party advice.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm just gonna read a few stories, get your reaction.
I honestly wasn't really familiar with Reddit before this, so it took me a little bit. It's so easy to go on to, but
yeah.
I just wasn't sure about it. But I'm excited to see the stories you had. And yeah, we'll be reacting to them and talking about it a little bit.
Right. So I'm going to read the story and then get her reaction, because obviously I've read it before since I chose the ones that I chose.
Yeah.
And then I did screenshot a few comments, and we'll talk about those, if we agree with them or not, and then kind of try to give third-party advice, because sometimes I feel like the internet, and especially Reddit, people automatically go to the most extreme answer and advice, especially when it's like asking a question about like relationships, or like automatic no, break up, this and that, blah blah blah.
So
like
extreme.
Yeah, like you wouldn't give your actual friend that advice if they came to you with a certain story and you actually knew both people involved. So I feel like kind of take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to the internet.
Exactly.
So I think that's why I kind of wanted to react, since we have less extreme reactions, I feel like.
And anyways, they're pretty interesting stories, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Ready for the first story?
Yes, I am. Let's see.
All right. It says, I, 31 male, and my girlfriend, 31 female, have been fighting a lot ever since we moved in. My friends say it's normal, but I don't know how to move on. So, as it suggests in the title, my girlfriend Rebecca and I have been fighting a lot recently. We moved into our new place at the first week of February, and things were rocky at first. This is the first time either of us have moved, and we had to leave our family, so it was rather emotional time for the both of us. We eventually settled in, and things were fine for a little while. Lately, though, we've been fighting a lot about other things, such as me not doing things to her satisfaction, and I will get mad at her for the way she's speaking to me. These fights happen almost daily now, and it's gotten so bad to the point where I feel the need to go for a long walk and come back hours later. When I do come back, Rebecca will apologize for fighting. Yesterday, I met up with a few friends of mine, and we talked about the issues I've been having. One of my friends was telling me not to despair too much, because it's common in relationships for this to happen. Some of them shared their own personal experiences, and it was almost shocking to hear how similar they were. Some of the things my friends talked about were things that actually resonated with mine and Rebecca's relationship. And then there's kind of a list of certain things that like they've been fighting about.
Okay.
So I guess him playing video games when there was work that needed to be done like around the house.
Mm-hmm.
Her getting upset with me for not knowing where to put things because she organized it the way she likes it. Not making the bed the way she likes. Leaving things on the counter. Not hanging clothes up properly, not having an opinion when discussing things about the house. When she gets mad at him, I choose not to tell her to preserve the peace. I don't really know what that means.
Yeah.
But and then he also said that he talked about it with his friends for a while, and he actually cried hearing how common these issues were, and I seriously don't know what I have to do to resolve my issues. It's getting to a point where I'm anxious thinking about what like the next thing she is going to fight with me about is. I was hoping on getting some help from this sub, so like a subreddit.
Right.
My friends told me that it'll eventually level out, but I just don't know how that will happen.
Okay. That sounds very common.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, my first question is I wonder how long they were together.
Before moving in?
Yeah, because I'm thinking about it now, like that is something so common. Like,
yeah.
If you're not used to living with someone else,
mm-hmm.
obviously, deep down it could mean a lot of things. One, you're obviously not really, it's not like your comfort space yet. You probably feel like you're not, I don't know, you guys didn't make it, I don't know, like, comfortable
mm-hmm.
for both of you yet. Also, probably missing home or whatever. Like, it's just probably so many other things that either the girlfriend's fighting about or if he's fighting with her about. But also, like, the things they were fighting about, like how they put the clothes away or how she likes to make the bed or anything like that. It's kind of, I feel like, I don't know, maybe if it's a newer relationship, because me just thinking about it, like, for example, I sleep over at my boyfriend's house all the time, so I could kind of, like,
mm-hmm.
I'm already learning those, like, we don't live together, but I know how he likes his bed or how he likes to hang his clothes. Like, that wouldn't be necessarily, I don't think, anything we would fight about, because I would already know that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe you're thinking
like maybe they're newer or they didn't really, like, I don't know. Okay. Because those are little, like, fights. But also, again, if they were together for a long time, it's probably just other issues deep down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. I mean, I think the same thing. If they were newer, she probably wouldn't have known all of that. Mm-hmm. Or if it was, like, if their families were more strict and they couldn't sleep over, then definitely. They wouldn't be able to see how they live in the house. Or if they're just there, like, during the day, like, they don't see when they're doing, like, the chores and all of that. That could be a thing.
Because people
but they're in their 30s, so...
Yeah, I mean, but they could have just been together, like, because they're older.
Right, that's true.
Not that they're older, guys. I'm almost there. But,
no, but I'm saying, I was thinking in the sense of, like, when you're younger, like, your parents don't want... Yeah. But probably since they're older, that's less likely now that I think about it. But... still, you don't know, they could have big families, so maybe they just didn't feel comfortable sleeping over and all of that.
You just never know, yeah.
So I can see it probably being, like, a newer couple. They probably didn't talk about, like, all of this stuff beforehand, because you kind of don't really think to talk about the little things of, if someone has certain tendencies or likes things a certain way, like, I have to have all of the same color hangers in my closet, or, I have to do this, I have to do certain things, and now... They went from kind of having to deal with everybody who ever lived in their space because it's your family, but when you move in together, you're trying to make it your own space and kind of like this other person's in your space in a way that it's not like a family obligation.
Right.
So it's very different. And he did say, like, it was emotional. Exactly. And if it was, since they said in February, and it's only, like, April now.
Right.
So I feel like that's not that long.
Yeah, that's not.
So his friends are probably right, and especially if they've already moved out, like, just to give it time, whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, but I think it's completely common. I feel like it's literally merging two different lives together and lifestyles, and people are very specific on how they want their things, how they clean, how they cook, just those little things. Like, some people don't clean dishes at the end of the night, some people do, like... I don't know, like, it's just the little things, and if they don't know that, then of course, like, it could literally be, like, the fights are legit, and the girlfriend or whatever is actually upset at those things, or it could be something deep down that she's just...
Yeah. I mean, I do think that it's less important to focus on little things they're fighting about, and it's more important to talk about and set up boundaries for the way they talk to each other when they're fighting, because he said most of the time... she might be fighting about, like, whatever actually happened and, like, the little thing, and then he gets upset about the way she's talking to him.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
That's a bigger thing to worry about, because obviously it's giving him anxiety about when the next fight is going to happen, whatever. But also, I feel like that can make you resent your partner.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And not like them, like, as a person. Because obviously there will be times when, like, you don't get along, you don't like them for that, like...
second.
Yeah, like, whatever, that second, but you always love them. But, like, if you start to not like their personality
Oh,
or the
yeah.
things they do or who they are as a person, and you start to resent them,
It's a bigger
that's that can turn into a bigger issue. Like in the long run, that's what will end up like causing a rift, because then a little thing can happen and they can automatically be like, all right, like I'm done now.
Yeah, that would be the last like straw.
Yeah,
I agree. And honestly, I can't imagine like if she's talking to him in a way where it's like, I don't know, like either like yelling at him or like demanding him or like kind of like treating him like a kid or nagging like way too much, like I could see that being a problem too. Like you can't do that, or you need to sit down and talk about, all right, like I'm not liking this the way like I'm very specific, like that's really important to me. I don't know, just kind of you have to talk it out, because you
have to be like proactive about it. Like you can't wait until you're both upset or you're both mad that like this was in the wrong place, that was done like the wrong way, whatever. Like they have to talk about it when they're not fighting.
Right.
And then also he said it was very emotional, so he has to consider like her emotion. She's probably like all over the place having to leave her family and things like that. But I also think you can't really hold against someone like if they don't do something the way that you like it, because if it's done, like if someone does the dishes, I'm not gonna be like, you did the dishes the wrong way.
Right, exactly. Unless
like
there's
that
like
rubs
it's
me
like
a little bit the wrong
dirty
way.
a lot.
Oh yeah.
Like, all right, are you like watching them or not?
Yeah.
Like, but no, if it's like little things, like you just have to learn how to let things slide. Like at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. But if it's to the point where you have to do it after them because they literally didn't do it right, then I guess that's annoying. Right. But it could be deep down too, like maybe if she's the one, the way that it's coming off, it sounds like she's fighting with him more. Yeah. Right? Maybe she deep down didn't or wasn't ready to move in or something like that, and kind of was just like, I guess we should do it, or I don't know, because that could be a thing too, and you're just kind of arguing about everything. It's usually like the first month or two is like the most exciting, because you're buying your things, you're like, everyone, or if you want people to come over, like you're excited to show off your place. Like my cousin just moved in together with her boyfriend, and they like that's all they've been doing, and I doubt they're fighting about little tiny things like that, because also they were already used to being over each other's houses, seeing how they live and things like that. So I don't know, it just sounds like very either new, or she really deep down didn't want to move in, or something's going on over there, or just super emotional time and she's just taking it out that way.
I suggest therapy to everyone and everything.
Therapy, yes. And communicate.
Just to help you like process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through. Now some comments that I thought were like either nice, interesting, whatever. Someone said, have either of you lived on your own prior to this? That's a big transition in and of itself. Moving in with a partner is a lot like a second relationship in many ways. It requires communication and compromise. You both come from different backgrounds and lifestyles. If your arrangement is going to work, you need to talk and negotiate specifically what your expectations are. For example, you agree that you rotate certain chores each week to keep things fair. Someone cleans the kitchen, someone cleans the bathroom. What is each of your definition of clean? Because if one of you just wipes down a counter with a paper towel and sweeps the floor, and that's cool, while the other gets out the toothbrush and bleaches every possible square inch for 3 hours and sanitizes it, someone is going to feel like they're doing all the work. You need to communicate, compromise, and collaborate.
I agree. And that's like back to what I was saying, like, there's people, like, there are things in different ways, like, I don't know. Like, for example, I can bring up this example. I've never moved out with a boyfriend or anything, but I sleep over my boyfriend's house. And the other day I was helping him do laundry, putting his clothes away. Like, hanging his shirts and his jackets. Like, regular. Like, you put the hanger through here. Yeah. Like, I do that to my clothes. And he was like, no, baby, you're doing that wrong. And I'm like, what?
You have to, like, put it through the bottom.
And he, like, wanted me to put it through the bottom because I guess it stretches out that. But I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, it doesn't bother my clothes. Yeah, but, of course, I'm not going to be like, what? Like, I'm not going to fight that. Why would I? Like, that's something, like, if there's something deep down that you're bothered about, like, you would fight with that. Like, but I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, no, for sure. I just do it. It's not that. It doesn't bother me to go ahead and do that if he likes it that way.
Right.
Well, those are his clothes anyways. Like, I don't have a say, really, but,
yeah.
you know, yeah.
I agree. I like that comment. A lot of fights or miscommunications happen because you're expecting one thing in your head, they're expecting something different.
Right.
And that's why communication is so key, and like talking about it makes everything better.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I really like that they didn't just say like, oh, communicate about who's doing what chore, but like how normally you were raised doing that chore.
Right.
Or like how you expect that chore to be done.
Exactly.
Or if you're going to have a problem with it if it's done a different way.
Exactly.
Because like for me, like for your example with the hangers, sometimes if like a hood is too tight and I can't fit the hanger, then I'll go underneath.
Right.
But for most clothes, because I have like crop tops or like
I guess
tank tops, whatever, I just go through the top.
Yeah. And so I didn't even like
think about it.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was really it's not that I didn't know that was a way to hang clothes, but it was just like that wasn't my first, that never has been my first way to do it.
Exactly.
So, but you just gotta learn those things. And
okay, and then this is a comment like in response to that comment I just read.
Okay.
So they said, love this advice and wanted to throw in some concrete examples. Collaborate by doing a chore inventory. For 1 week, each of you should track every chore you do. At the end of the week, work together to see what felt fair and what can be changed together. Compromise by deciding what can be done daily, weekly, or monthly, and what can wait. Communicate, then have a waiting period. Then they have like in quotes. Right now I feel frustrated because you're resting while I'm working, but I want to collect my thoughts. Can we talk about it tomorrow? And then end quote.
Okay.
After some sleep, you'll both be able to have a less heated conversation and convey your thoughts with more clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like me, honestly, I hate doing chores. It's just like, to me, it's just so boring. Like, I just don't like it. I don't know. But I prefer to do it with my partner, whoever. Like, I find it more fun. Things go by faster. Like, you're both doing the same thing. So I don't know. I feel better about it. But that totally makes sense what that lady is saying. Was that a lady? I don't know.
I can't really tell what that is.
I don't like that lady.
I mean, the
I feel
picture,
like a lady would have said that.
the picture is of like a little character that's a girl.
Okay.
So I guess.
But yeah, I completely agree with her. And literally, I mean, that's very like strategic and like super like write down everything you do. I mean, I know I probably wouldn't do that myself, but one thing that I would like, I feel like also would kind of work. Again, I've never lived with a boyfriend or a significant, and with no one ever besides my family. But like, I like the idea of like, oh, you do the kitchen, you're in charge of the kitchen, and I'm in charge of the bathroom or something like that.
Yeah.
And if also talk about like what you hate cleaning. Like, I hate cleaning the bathroom. I don't know, that's not one of my favorite things to clean.
I hate the dishes.
And then I don't mind cleaning the kitchen. So, like, it would be perfect if you're like, all right, then I'll take care of the bathroom, you take care of the kitchen, and, like, deep clean it once a week.
Yeah.
Whenever that is, you know?
I can deal with counters and all that stuff. But dishes, I don't know. Just because it has to do with food, I feel like I take too long to wash them. Like, I will scrub something, like, 5 different times.
Right.
Like,
it depends what it is. It's so annoying.
Yeah, so, like, here you guys don't use the dishwasher, so everything has to be washed by hand.
Right.
And, like, I'm fine with, I can put it in the dishwasher, and I can, like, rinse it, whatever, and start the dishwasher, but I don't like doing dishes by hand.
Right.
But also because I cook a lot, so I feel like it's not really fair
to,
like, cook everything and then also have to do the dishes, and that feels like too much work.
No, absolutely. I feel like it should, and that's, like, another way where it should be balanced. Like you say, you cook a lot, then my brother should, her boyfriend, my brother, should clean the dishes. Or, like, whenever I'm over my boyfriend's, he usually cooks a lot, so I'll clean the dishes, or, like, set up the table and then clean the dishes, or vice versa if I end up cooking, which happens every once in a while. He'll clean the dishes and stuff like that. But I feel like it just has to really be balanced, and if there's no balance, then of course someone's going to feel some type of way.
Yeah. I think those were all good points.
Yeah. Alright, let's go to the next one. I found one that I'm not going to read the whole description of it because it was so long, but I kind of read it and I understand what he was kind of saying. Okay, so the title of it was My 28 Male Girlfriend.
What?
So I think that he messed that up, or he is the male
Yeah, he's 28 male.
Yeah, he's 28 male. Okay.
Yeah.
So my girlfriend, who is also 28 female, wants me to go to her BFF's wedding over my good friend's wedding. So that one I thought was very interesting. So basically, what it says in the title, they have her best friend's wedding is the same time as his good friend, and his good friend being someone from his fraternity. Which, if you're in a fraternity, you come out with a lot of good friends, right?
Right.
And so, but he was explaining that he like mentioned that he had other, obviously, people he was close with in the fraternity, but if it was like one of those people, he wouldn't, it wouldn't be as important as the, it's not that it wouldn't be as, I'm like, okay, whatever. Basically, this guy, his friend, is a really, really close friend. Like, they have a deep connection type of thing.
Yeah.
It's not his BFF or, like, since they were children and stuff like that. But her BFF is, like, they've been best friends for a while.
Since they were kids.
Yeah. So, basically, that, like, what does he do? Like, and she keeps getting upset, and they keep having arguments about it, and, yeah.
Oh.
That was a hard one. I saw that.
It is hard. I think I would probably go for not going together to one of them, just going separately to both, because the wedding isn't about like who you bring with you or like being there with your partner. Like, it would be nice, but you're going there to support your friend.
Yeah.
So it's not about you, it's their wedding. Like, if that's your childhood friend, if you were single, you wouldn't have anyone to bring with you.
Right.
You wouldn't have anyone to be mad at that they didn't come with you.
Yeah.
So, and you would go by yourself regardless. So I think they should both go to their friend's wedding. I understand why it would, like, make her mad or whatever because she feels strongly. But I also would question how close are each respective person to, like, the person getting married.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's not really going to matter to the person getting married that, like, your boyfriend didn't come if they either don't know them or, like, don't really hang out with them.
Right.
Like, if they don't have a strong connection themselves, then, like, she probably wouldn't feel bummed out not going to his fraternity brother's wedding, and he probably doesn't feel bummed out not going to the best friend's wedding.
Exactly.
So I think they should just go to each one. Not let it really, because this is something that's going to pass. Like, their wedding's going to come and go.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think they should let it affect their relationship in any kind of way. Like, I understand the feeling of being upset. Like, he can validate her, be like, oh, like, I understand why it's upsetting. Like, you would really enjoy if we were together at this wedding. Like, it would make us feel closer.
Right.
And whatever. And it's just nice to go to a wedding with someone.
Of course. Yeah.
And you get to dance and do all that stuff, whatever. But at the same time, like, they need to focus on the fact that, like, they need to be there for their friends. The wedding is not about their relationship. It's not their wedding.
Right. Yeah, I 100% agree. I was going to say that they should just, I mean, it's going to suck, and you validate the fact that it sucks because you do want to be there with your significant other or your partner or whoever. But if it's, like, someone that you cannot, like, miss their wedding, like, the person's very close to you, like, just, you're going to have to end up going by yourselves.
Yeah.
If it's the same day, same weekend, whatever. Now, if it was, like, a destination wedding.
What do you mean?
Like, because usually destination, like, let's say the wedding's going to be in Mexico, in Cancun, or Dominican Republic, wherever. Like, that's, like, where it's, like, damn, because usually you get a whole vacation out of it. You're not going to just go there for a day.
Right.
So that's, like, where it's, like,
it will be longer that you'll be missing the person that you're with.
Yeah, and you would most likely want them to go, like, it would be, like, more like you're trying to get them to go type of thing.
Right.
But if he really wants to be there for if he's really close to that person, and obviously it's her best friend, she's gonna go. And you know how girls are with their best friends, like, it's just a whole nother thing. But they should just go separately, which sucks, but it is what it is. Especially if it's just, like, somewhere local. Like,
yeah,
you'll get over it.
It'll pass. Like, it's not something to, like, hold a grudge over.
Exactly.
Or, like, have a huge fight over. Like, you're gonna have your feelings. It's gonna suck. I'm sure he's gonna miss her while he's at the wedding.
Exactly. It's just, I don't know, she just probably feels some type of way, because of course you want your...
I would feel some type of way, but, like...
Of course, but you just have to, like, get, like, just talk about how much that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And just, you have to go by yourselves. It is what it is.
I agree.
Yeah.
I have a wedding related one too.
Well, this is interesting, by the way, because I'm going to a bachelorette next weekend and then a wedding 2 weeks after. Well, it's the same person, but for the same person. So yeah. I like the wedding ones.
The title is Wedding Planning Has Potentially Ended My 33 Female Relationship with Fiancé 35 Male.
Oh shit. That's my worst nightmare.
I am planning my wedding, and my fiancé has wanted little to nothing to do with planning. We've been together for close to 8 years, and this is his MO to default work to me. Things requiring his input, like the guest list, have caused arguments because I haven't sent invites out and the wedding is a few months away. But he hasn't given me some people's contact information even after I asked a few times in the last 3-ish months, and almost no one on the guest list are my invites. Even selecting a venue was such a pain. I researched and contacted at least 50 venues and narrowed it down to 2, and he made such a fuss when I asked him to meet with both to help us make the final decision as a team, like I was inconveniencing him. He's not talking to me right now because we had an argument about where and when hair and makeup for the bridal party would happen. I had spent a month connecting with hair and makeup professionals to find the right ones for me and work out a timeline that fits in the schedule for the big day. His family called and said we really need to speed up our planning, which caused him to accuse me of being too slow, and specifically said I need to book hair and makeup. I told him I already had, but instead of saying okay and moving on, he argued with me and said I didn't do it the right way and I picked the wrong start time and location. I tried assuring him that I knew what I was doing, but he then said I've never planned something successfully and he was just having a civil conversation and I was being defensive. And he walked away and hasn't spoken to me since, for a few days. He wanted the wedding. I would rather pay a judge without any celebration, so his behavior makes me feel terrible and like he doesn't trust me or hear me when I tell him he's causing unnecessary roadblocks to planning or wanting to dictate how it's planned after the fact, even though I've been asking his opinion on everything at every step. He only takes warnings or expressions of concern when someone else brings it up. If I bring up my feelings, they're dismissed as me being immature or too sensitive. Anyway, I've paused further planning because this doesn't make me feel confident in the wedding, but hoping for any advice. Please be kind, this is my version of events, and he isn't on Reddit to defend himself. Thanks in advance.
That is very interesting. Right away, it sounds like she says that she's doing everything, and he sounds like he's just chilling, sitting back, and not helping at all. And then wants to complain about things. So, really, she needs to tell him, like, unless you're going to do something, don't say anything at all at this point because you're not the one planning it. Like, what the hell? I don't know. That just sounds like also, well, he's the one that I'm guessing proposed. She says that he wanted the wedding, so. Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't really sound like he doesn't want to get married. It just sounds like he's just being lazy and just makes it seem like it's like an easy job to plan a whole wedding. Yeah. But then wants to talk shit about what she's doing. Yeah, or rush her. Because rushing that process is not, no.
Yeah. I think I would start a riot.
Yeah, I would be pissed.
I would pop off.
Yeah.
Like, a lot. Probably earlier than, like, she has. I think he's doing it for the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. And I think he's putting, like, he's taking, like, a society standpoint of, like, oh, the woman should enjoy doing this. Like, I'm just letting her do it. Yeah. Or, like, oh, the woman wants to, like, is the one that should plan the wedding. Right. When she's already expressed, like, she needs help with certain things, like the guest list. And I think he's doing it for the wrong reasons because he only takes things seriously when someone else brings it up. True. So I think he's doing it for the show of, like, other people. Mm-hmm. Because if they've been together for 8 years and he's just now doing a wedding, like, they've been together this whole time. Right. he could have done a wedding earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just focusing on like everyone else and not taking into account like how she's feeling or what she wants, and is being very dismissive of her, like the person he's actually supposed to be marrying.
Exactly.
And I think what people don't realize is that, like, yeah, your wedding could be fun, but there's gonna be so many weddings after your wedding. Like, someone might bring it up once or twice, be like, oh yeah, that was fun, but no one's gonna be like, oh, that was the wedding of the century.
Right.
Like,
I highly doubt that.
Yeah, like,
unless
you're gonna be married and you're gonna, like, be with your wife.
Exactly.
So if she felt dismissed, like, before this, like, she's literally considering, like, not being with him because of the way he's making her feel.
Yeah, which
like,
is sad.
That's my biggest problems with weddings, is that, like, people forget that it's really supposed to be about, like, the love and, like, two people and, like, families joining together, and then they think that as an excuse, like, they use a wedding as an excuse to, like, treat people poorly, and then relationships fall out, like, left and right because of it.
Exactly.
So that's my biggest problems with weddings. But, like, I also am in the same boat. Like, I would elope, I don't really care.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's not a big deal to me. I don't need the, like, big white dress. Like, I've never been the girl who's, like, planned it since I was young. So, like, it would annoy me if someone who wanted a wedding was like, oh, you have to plan everything.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've always wanted a wedding. I've always wanted a huge, well, not even huge, but I've always wanted a wedding.
It's gonna have to be huge. You have, like, 3 million people in your family.
Try to limit that. But, yeah, no, even then, like, I wouldn't want to be the one doing everything at all.
Yeah.
One, obviously, that's so much pressure. It's so stressful. There's so much you have to do, and it's just, like, impossible. And if you're not getting any help from the person you're marrying, literally for the both of you, the party for the both of you, like, I'd be so pissed. And then I would literally be like, you have no say then. Like, you cannot talk. Yeah. Don't tell me anything.
It's already done. Like, I think certain things should, like, they should have from the jump, like, assigned certain things. Because why does he have a say on, like, hair and makeup? That's gonna be done to her and, like, her friends.
Like, relax, one.
And she already booked it. He's spiraling, and he's not just making it about the wedding also.
Right.
Because he's not keeping the argument to just the wedding. Like, he's saying, like, oh, you've never planned anything successfully. You've done this and that.
Yeah, like, why would you say that? It's crazy.
All the wrong things.
Yeah, no, not helping at all. So I would literally, I don't know. She just needs to talk to him. Like, I mean, I don't know if she has. She didn't say that she did, but just be like, you haven't helped at all, and all you've done is complain. Like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Don't start coming at me.
We have a little update. Because I guess she saw, like, what everyone was commenting, and they were probably, like, trashing him a lot.
Probably.
But she says, update. Thanks everyone who has commented and shared their perspective or advice. I'm seeing 3 trends in the responses. 1, why would you want to be with or marry this guy? 2, drop him now, thank me later. Or 3, seek out couples counseling to confirm if there's anything to salvage before making a decision. So the first point, it's hard to articulate. He has had my back in situations when no one else had, not even family would. I do love him, but I come from a trauma-filled upbringing and rationally acknowledge that I could be falling into that same cycle, which I will speak to a professional about. He sees a therapist regularly. Second point, definitely an option, and appreciate everyone's candor. Candor? Yeah. I'm not one to be quick and pull a trigger, so to speak, but I am taking time to weigh my options and really sit with the negatives, which leads me to the third point. This eases my mind and could be critical in the healing process if and when this does fall apart. I will start with individual for myself to process before potentially approaching him about couples counseling. Regarding his family, they are very supportive and treat me well. I don't believe they are pushing him to get married or trying to meddle or have bad intentions. So, I think the counseling is the best option.
Yeah.
I think it's a good sign that he sees a therapist on his own.
No, for sure.
I do think that she needs to see one too, like she said.
She has, a lot of.
Yeah, so because she said she would, like, speak to a professional, and I think they do need to, like,
I don't know. It could also be it's just hard because you just don't know the personalities of these people.
Yeah.
And it could be where she, like, at the beginning, like, of planning it, like, did everything. And a lot of times with guys, if you do everything,
they're just like, oh, she's got it. Like,
yeah, and then they'll put their 2 cents in when they, like, it's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get annoyed because then you feel like you're doing everything. But it's because you started off with doing everything. And, I mean, I'm not saying I don't do this, but...
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. But a lot of women do this where you just do a lot and then you don't say anything. You start getting annoyed that you are doing everything because the guy just sits back and just lets you, and then whatever. But he's also being obviously annoying because he keeps talking like shit.
Bringing up other... Yeah.
He's not talking shit.
No, he is. He's
but,
bringing up other stuff, like, whatever. I think
so
the best thing would be couples counseling.
Yeah, and, like, see what is happening because either there's something deep down happening where he doesn't want to get married or something, or it could be that she was just doing everything in the beginning, so
yeah, now
she feels that she was doing everything, and I'm like, well, you kind of were then.
Yeah.
But
point of this episode, everyone get therapy. Figure it out. Something deeper is going on.
Something deeper is always happening. No,
not always, but if there's, like, all this other stuff,
I think if it's, like, when you're fighting about something stupid,
yeah,
where you could clearly just be, like, where you can't, like, sit back and think about it and be like, oh, wait, that's really not that big of a deal, and then move on from it, like, there has to be something deeper, I don't know.
Yeah, but 8 years is a long time, so, like, I wouldn't say automatically just throw everything away. I would definitely, like, place... Because if she comes from a trauma-filled background, it might be hard for her to place boundaries.
Right.
So she might not have had a situation in the past with him where she felt like she needed to put boundaries, and this might be the first, like, big thing that they're planning together. So, like, now all of this stuff is coming up, and the way he's reacting, like, she might not have dealt with that before.
True.
So now is a good time, especially if you plan on marrying this person, whether it's a wedding or a courthouse or not. Like, all these other people, like I said, these guests are not going to be involved in your marriage.
Yeah.
So, like, whether it's a courthouse wedding or it isn't, they need to figure out their stuff together and set their own boundaries, like, that he can't bring up other stuff or just, like, shit talk her for no reason, like, when it has nothing to do with it. So, they just need to go to couples counseling.
Yeah. Sounds like
figure it out. It sounds like they have the support of at least his family.
Yeah.
And, like, she said he's been supportive in the past, so I'm sure it can, like, come back.
Definitely. And again, those are stressful times anyways.
Yeah.
She's probably, I don't know.
It is a bit of a red flag, like, because it's, like, months of,
because
like,
he's, like,
trying.
He's, like, blaming a lot of things on her, that's, like, annoying. That's, like, when it's, like, not fair. But
it's, like, back up a little bit. Yeah. Like she said, like, check yourself first. Like, take care of, like, prioritizing you, making sure you're good, and then work on the relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to the next one. So this one kind of went with your first one.
Okay. Kind of moving in.
Yeah, kind of. All right, so the title is, Am I, 30 female, responsible for half the cost of a house mortgage that only my boyfriend, who is 30 male, will be signing? Interesting, right? All right. So, it says, my boyfriend is planning to purchase a house in a year. He can afford it, I can't. He plans to take advantage of first-time homeowner loans or whatever, and suggested that I don't sign on the mortgage for it so that I may also take advantage of that same first buyer deal in a few years when we're more prepared for a second property. He wants to buy a duplex, live on one side and rent out the other to cover some of the costs. And then later on I buy a place and we move into there and rent out both sides of the duplex to cover more of the costs of both properties. It makes sense in my head, but in my gut I have a weird feeling about it all. He still wants me splitting the mortgage and all of the house bills. I'm, of course, fine with splitting utilities and such like we are now, but shouldn't I just be on the mortgage in that case, if I'm paying towards the mortgage, property taxes, any home fixes, etc.? Or, like, am I going to become like a tenant and required to sign a lease agreement under him? That alone sounds strange because I'm his partner, not his tenant or roommate. I'm not well versed in how all this works, so any advice or words or wisdom for the home buying process? Well, I shouldn't read that part because I'm not. We're not either.
Listen, we're well versed in whatever we want to be well versed in.
You're right. It's kind of funny though. But just the whole idea of it. Okay.
Yeah. I have lots of thoughts.
Yeah, because that's a big, yeah. Okay, so what are your thoughts?
Number one, you're not married.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were to get married, because the property's in his name, he could say, oh, I want to sign a prenup because he wants to protect his assets, whatever, and that property is not hers. So I think she should, just because they're living together, they want to make the space theirs together, does not mean the property is hers.
Right.
And I would do everything and anything to protect herself and her assets.
Right.
So if it was me, I understand, like, he's your partner, but as your partner, if the communication is there, they would understand, like, you're just protecting yourself in case of anything.
Right.
And if they were a good partner, they would want you to protect yourselves in case of anything, because even if you do break up or whatever, like, you still love that person, you still don't want any bad to come to that person.
Of course.
So I think a contract should be signed of what's expected. The problem I see with her being like, oh, I shouldn't pay half the mortgage is that as a buyer, you need to put a down payment in.
Yeah.
If she's not putting half the down payment, a tenant or someone who lived there would be paying the mortgage anyways.
Yeah.
So I think she should be paying a portion of the mortgage because it's basically rent.
Yeah.
Like, if she's just paying utilities, I don't think that's fair to him because he's not the only one living in the space.
Right.
So I think she should be paying at least part of the mortgage. I understand that it goes towards paying off the house, but when you have a mortgage, that's basically your rent.
Yeah.
So, like,
exactly.
There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. I think she should be paying half the utilities and part of the mortgage, whatever they decide together.
Right.
Whether that's 70-30, like 50-50, whatever. But also, I don't feel like it would be that high because if they're buying a duplex, the other person is paying part of the mortgage as well.
Exactly.
And they're not with him. They're not worried about because they're just paying rent. Like, that's how they view it. So she just needs to view it as, like, paying rent and less of, like, this is my partner. Like, I shouldn't be paying the mortgage if it's not under my name.
Yeah.
Like, so I think she needs a contract. I think she should be paying some of the mortgage, just like view it as rent. Don't view it as a mortgage because that's what it would be if you were leasing somebody's house.
Exactly.
Whatever your rent would be going towards their mortgage.
Right.
Like, I don't think that she should be paying completely for, like, home repairs or anything.
Yeah.
Because tenants don't do that.
Right.
I don't think she should be paying for, like, any home improvement unless they agree to eventually put her name on the mortgage, which I would have in writing too.
Yeah, of course.
I think, especially as women and, like, as time has gone on, you need to protect yourself in every, like, aspect.
Yeah.
And she should let him, like, do this in his name, whatever, and, like, do all the things I said. And then when they buy that second property and it's only in her name, like, that's when she's ready.
Yeah.
She'll be able to take advantage. It doesn't sound like he's a bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know any, like, his...
Right. But I'm saying, like, someone who would want to, like, take advantage of her.
Right.
Wouldn't say, like, oh, I'll use this now and, like, we'll buy a house together later. No, he said, like, the next property you get in your name and, like, you take advantage of that.
Exactly.
So I feel like that doesn't give me a red flag. I think if well, obviously she knows him better than anyone. Right. So, like, if you have a gut feeling, definitely protect yourself with whatever contracts you need. Exactly. Maybe get the advice of, like, a lawyer, whatever. But I don't think she should view it as, like, oh, his house is the only one on the mortgage. Like, I mean, his name is the only one on the mortgage. Like, so I don't want to pay the mortgage. That's rent. Like, that's what it is. And then also, like, they could make the space their own together. So I don't really see it as, like, being a terrible or, like, a bad thing. I just think protect yourself in all
as much as you can.
Aspects.
Definitely. I mean... To me, when I first read it, because, I don't know, it just depends on how they were living before, as in, or how they're living now, because I guess they're thinking about doing it. In a sense of like, was she, so for example, like a lot of Latinos, a lot of the guy, I mean, I don't really view things like that anymore. I don't really view things like that. Where the man pays for like everything house, like the rent, everything, and then you just kind of pay like maybe little things like the groceries, like really like little things, like you help out there and things like that. So it just depends like on how they were living before, like if they were living together, because if you go from like just paying utilities, I guess, like the water and like cable, I don't know, like something simple, and then you go on to paying like a whole like half a mortgage that's not even under your name at all, like I would feel some type of way too.
Okay.
Like in that sense. Like if you were paying already like half the rent beforehand, like I wouldn't see that much of a big deal like paying half. I mean, not half the mortgage, like if you have like if he's making more than you, and she said that she can't afford it, like, then no, you shouldn't be paying half, and he shouldn't be saying for you to pay half. Like, I'll pay 30% of it. Like, you know, whatever, like, however you can pay. But, I don't know, that was just the first thing I thought of is, what was their situation before? Like, was she paying rent if they were living together beforehand? Or was he only paying for it type of thing? Right. You know what I mean?
I mean, to me, a lot of the time, what stops people from, like, being able to buy a house where she's saying she can't afford it, a lot of time it's, like, your credit score, like, how much debt she's in, how much debt she has to pay off, and which I don't think he should be held back from buying a home because of her financial situation. So that's why, like, it doesn't really throw me off that he's buying it in his name. But also, like, the down payment a lot of times can be big, and if she's not able to save as much because maybe he makes more, then she needs more time to save for when it's her own property. Like, that's what it seems like to me, but I understand, like, where you're coming from, that she might feel some type of way if she ends up having to pay more because of a house under his name and something like he wants to buy.
But at the same time, if they were together for a while and you're, like, obviously... It's just you never know if they're not married yet. You don't know if you're really going to end up together. But if you pretty much see a future, like, you still want to support your partner. So, like, I wouldn't mind paying a part of the mortgage, but not half. And if you weren't paying it before, like, that's when I would be like, no, because, I don't know. Because, I mean, I've had similar discussion once, right? With somebody, and... that, like, just made me feel some type of way, too. Like, it's not fair. Like, you're supposed to move into a place together, and it's going to be under your name, and it just feels, like, it just doesn't feel right. So, I understand that aspect, I guess. But, at the same time, I don't know. That's just the first thing that I thought of was, like, was she paying rent before?
That makes sense.
And if she wasn't, then, yeah, I would feel some type of way.
Yeah.
To pay half. If he says to pay half, like, I don't know. That's too much.
No, yeah, that's why I said, like, you have to determine how much, like...
That's the smartest way.
Yeah, like, percentages, whatever, you need to see your income. I think I would do a lot of, like, income-based. I think too many people focus on, like, half of everything. And if someone's making, like, a significant amount more, then it's not fair.
It literally isn't fair.
Yeah, so you think 50-50 is fair, but then it actually ends up not being 50-50 because 50-50 of your income is not the same as the other person.
It's 70% of your income.
That's, like, that's not fair.
If you make less and whatever.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
See, we can have our opinions.
Yeah, you're right. You have to be experts.
On the house. Next story. We're gonna try reading from the Am I the Asshole thread. So basically we're gonna give our opinion on whether or not we think the original poster, or OP, is the asshole or not.
Okay.
Am I the asshole for making a girl cry? I'm 25 female. I have lost about 20 pounds in the last 2 months. The rest of my body hasn't caught up, but my stomach itself has gotten more flat and much less bloated. I've also stopped drinking alcohol. As my confidence has gone up more, I bought some dresses that were more fitted, not skin tight as I know I'm still fat, but more fitted around my abdomen and chest area. I was walking with my mom at a clothing store, and an old high school bully, who is much bigger than she was in high school and about 2 sizes bigger than me, saw me, and made small talk. Then she commented, "Your dress looks amazing. I could never wear something like that if I looked like you. I love it." In turn, I responded, "Yeah, you couldn't, especially with you being bigger than me. I don't think it would even fit." I know what she meant. I just returned her energy. She got teary eyed and walked away. My mom thinks I was harsh and should have just been the bigger person, but I did enough of that in high school, so am I the asshole?
Yes. Like, first of all, I get it. If the girl was a bitch in high school, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
High school is high school.
Yeah.
If you're already outside of high school, come on. You gotta go
Yeah.
out. How old is she? 20?
She's 25.
25? Oh my. She clearly hasn't moved on from high school. Yeah.
Well,
she has a lot more growing to do, I guess.
I think.
Personally.
Right. It depends on, like, I think bullying really can, especially at, like, high school age, can be a really big detriment.
Oh, yeah.
So I get it, but at the same time, you're winning by not being like them. So, like, you're already, like, working out, getting your body goals, whatever. You already lost 20 pounds. Like, she's talking about her accomplishments and how she's gaining confidence, all of this stuff.
Right.
And, like, yeah, what the girl said was a backhanded compliment, but you already know that that's the type of person that she is.
Yeah, like, that's not your problem at the end of the day. Like, don't feed into that energy. I'm very much big on that. Right,
but it's also not, like, your personality, so you're just, like, going down to that for nothing.
Right.
Like, you didn't like her bullying you. I understand, like, you want to get back at her.
But do it in a way where, like, yeah, I look better. Be like, just act like a bad bitch and be
just
like,
say, like, oh,
girl, you already know.
Yeah.
And walk away.
I would have just said, like, oh, not everybody could pull it off.
Right. That's a perfect, like, you're not talking shit about how the other person looks. Because if that girl did that to her when she was in high school, you already know how hurtful that is. And people should not be talking about the way people look. That's so fucked up.
Right.
So if you didn't like it when someone was doing it to you, don't do it to another person. I tell my kids that all the time. And adults too. You don't treat other people the way you wouldn't want to be treated.
Yeah, I didn't like some of the ways she was telling the story. Like, oh, she's so much bigger than she was in high school. Like, she's bigger than me now. Like, there's still some self-work she needs to do. Like, I understand, like, physically, she's starting to get where she needs to be, but she's still calling herself fat. Like, she said, oh, I'm still fat, so I'm making sure I'm only buying clothes that, like, are tight in certain areas. Yeah. Like, my confidence is gaining, but, like, I made sure, like, certain things... Like, just say, like, okay, I lost this much. Like my body looks better. Yeah, my body looks better. You didn't need to say, like, oh, like, certain parts of your body are flatter, like, whatever. Like, we didn't need to know all that. You didn't need to tell us, like, she's bigger.
Yeah, like, that's, like, so much. Like, to me, like, I thought she literally still sounds like she's in high school. Or, like I said, like, literally just got out of high school. 25, and you're still doing that?
Yeah.
You're out of high school,
the other girl is worse because she started, like, she's obviously still has the high school bully, like, mentality.
Yeah. But she sounded like she was just saying, wait, what did she say again?
No, she said...
The other girl to her.
Your dress looks amazing. I could never wear something like that if I looked like you. That's the problem. Oh. She's saying if I looked like you.
Okay. I guess maybe the way she said it. Because when you first said it, it just sounded like you look great. Like, if I looked like you, I would wear something like that.
No, she said, if I looked like you, I wouldn't wear something like that. I would not.
Oh, okay. No, that's fucked up. I'm like, well, that's none of your problem.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is, like, instead of talking about this other girl's weight or being like, alright, she said, especially with you being bigger than me, I wouldn't bring that up. I wouldn't say, oh, you're bigger than me, whatever.
Like, don't go down to...
You could obviously see that this girl's insecure if she's trying to come at you. I would have just been like, not everyone can pull it off.
But they're both insecure, so it's like...
Right, that's the issue.
That's the issue. It's going nowhere.
Therapy.
Therapy.
No, she start having a bell.
Yeah, therapy bell. She literally sounds like she was an asshole for just stooping down low to... Stooping, is that a word? Stooping... No.
Yeah.
Stooping?
Yeah.
Okay, let me not say it again because it's sounding weird as I say it.
Yeah.
For going down to her level. Yeah. Because, yeah, Like, I wouldn't even say that. If someone said that to me in person, I'd just be like, well, that's none of your concern. Or I'd be like, just don't worry about it then. Or just, like, there's so many other things you could say and just, like, shut that down real quick.
Yeah, I've also been seeing a lot lately on, like, TikTok or, like, just in general, people talking about, like, when people comment on your body or things that they, like, shouldn't say or they wouldn't be saying, like, in certain scenarios or, like, if they were alone with you. Like, just people acting insecure, like taking their insecurities out on you for no reason.
Right.
Like, you should start asking them to, like, repeat themselves and see if they say it again.
Ooh.
Or, like, you just blatantly be like, why would you say that?
Honestly.
Like,
that's
when people ask about, like, your body or, like, oh, like, you lost weight, oh, you're skinnier, like, what, like, you don't eat, like,
yeah.
why would you say that?
Yeah, like, because honestly, why would you?
Because then you, like, make them think and you make them feel embarrassed. Like, you always have to, like, I would say, like, put it back on them, but not in a way that heightens their insecurity or talks about them.
Not to make them feel bad either.
Right.
But more of, like, what are you saying?
Don't make them feel bad about, like, their looks or whatever.
No, because
make them feel bad about what they said to you.
Exactly.
Just be like, oh, why would you say that?
Yeah.
Oh, can you repeat yourself?
And be like, I'm sorry, what?
Did I hear you right?
What? Like,
did you mean it this way?
Yeah. She was an asshole.
I don't know. I think they both were.
They both were, yeah.
Yeah.
But she wasn't. She should have said that. So another one for am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for asking my roommate to leave the room while crying over her breakup with her boyfriend so I could sleep? I just imagine, like, someone's crying and you're just like, I can sleep.
I mean, I get it.
I get it too. Really quick, I, like, read it because it's kind of long.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. She's a freshman in college. It's her roommate. She didn't know that, like, she picked the option where it's, like, a random roommate.
Mm-hmm.
That he moved into, and they're cool, whatever. She has a boyfriend. They broke up. And I guess they were talking about it. And she was sobbing, whatever. And they were together for a while. And it was getting closer to 2:30 a.m. And so she was like, that the girl wasn't calming down. And she needed to sleep since she had a midterm in 5 hours. So
I don't think that would make her the asshole.
Yeah.
I think
it's just kind of awkward and a little, it's not funny that she went through that because I understand. But
I mean, I've shared a room with someone.
Yeah.
Like, I lived with roommates and I shared a room with my best friend Maite. And we literally had our beds, like,
right up on each other.
Not on each other.
Yeah.
We had, like, our sides of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if she was on the phone or something, like, it would keep me up or whatever. But I stay up late, so it really doesn't bother me. But if I had a midterm, like, I understand. Like, there was a bunch of other times, like, where my friend, like, invited somebody over and, like, I had a test and they were loud or whatever else, and I had already told them I had a test.
Right.
Then I was ready to, like, pop off.
Of
because
course,
I was like, I have a test.
Yeah.
But
in a, like, fragile, that's a little bit fragile. That's
yeah,
why
yeah.
It's, like, a little, like, the
I
girl's
would still,
sobbing,
like,
crying, all emotional. And
yeah, I would tell her maybe, like, try to calm yourself down, put some headphones on, like, try to listen to, like, calm music, because maybe it'll help the girl fall asleep. Because obviously, like, you don't want to see your friend or, like, roommate in, like, emotional distress. But also, if you need to stop crying kind of quickly, if you look at yourself in a mirror, it helps. Because you perceive it as, like, another person, and you don't really want, like, someone else to see you cry.
Well, that's interesting.
So you kind of, like, slow
it's
down your crying.
Thing.
Yeah, so she could try to, like, look up things to help her stop crying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying, like, she's not trying to invalidate her feelings or be like, oh, no, it's not hard. Like, shut up, stop crying.
Yeah, no.
But,
you can't say it like that.
Right. But just be like, oh, hey, like, I really need to go to sleep. Or she can put her own headphones on and, like,
just let her cry.
Try to go to sleep.
I'd be like, girl, I love you, but...
Yeah.
It's 2:30.
Yeah, I'd be like, I have a really important midterm.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's so valid, and I mean, I would probably offer, like, if you want to sleep here, if you don't want to be alone, you can sleep here, but just...
Yeah.
I need to go to sleep. But no, I get it. It is just, like, it's just an awkward situation, because your friend or your roommate, whoever it is just obviously going through it, and super emotional, and I get it, but...
Yeah.
A little awkward.
I mean, my friend went through a breakup while we were living together.
Yeah.
But I don't know, if she was crying, I probably didn't really notice that much. She doesn't really show emotion in front of me.
Yeah.
Or just, like, in front of people in general.
Right.
So I don't think I ever, like, heard her, like, full-on sobbing.
Yeah.
We didn't, like, sit there, have a whole conversation about it, whatever. Mm-hmm. If she was crying, again, she was, like, listening to headphones, like, underneath her covers or whatever.
Right.
Because also, the other girl needs to, like, be respectful of her roommate.
Yeah, you can't just, you gotta...
Yeah,
if it's also a weekday, like, come on.
Yeah, not the asshole.
Yeah, I think she's not the asshole. Alright, so that wraps up our Reddit reactions. Yes. It was fun. It was interesting.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys think in the comments on the video portion, if you can. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Gaby Hour Pod. It's GABYHOURPOD.
And don't forget to follow us on TikTok at Gaby Hour, GABYHOUR. And yeah, we will see you guys next time for our next episode.
Week.
Yes, cheers.